And welcome back here to Live Now from Fox and our continuing coverage of the history being made there in St. Peter's Square today. The first American Pope elected by the College of Cardinals in the Sistine Chapel during the conclave lasting a little over 25 hours. The vote on the fourth ballot sealing the deal for the white smoke, alerting the world that a pope had been chosen here. In the meantime, though, we want to focus our efforts on where Pope Leo hails from, Chicago, Illinois. Take a look at this, over the Windy City skyline. I had been wondering as well what he studied, what Cardinal Prevost studied at Villanova. He got a Bachelor of Science in Math, and then he got a Master of Divinity from the Catholic Theological Union in Chicago, and then he joined the Augustinian Order as well. That's where he did his missionary work in Peru for so long. He does have dual citizenship as well in Peru. But in the meantime, we want to focus our efforts yet again. Stay in Chicago. That's where we find Fox 32's Casey Cronus, and she has been following all of this today. And she's been getting reaction from where Bishop Prevost, or Cardinal Prevost, rather, hails from in the Windy City. Casey joining me. Casey, good to see you here. You've covered Chicago for so long, and you've covered Chicago politics, especially the Catholic Church there in Chicago. What does this mean for Chicago's Catholics?
Hi, Andrew. This is such an exciting day here, especially on the south side. We are live outside of St. Rita High School, an all-boys Catholic school, where Prevost actually was a substitute teacher about 40 years ago. Now, the entire school tuned in when they saw white smoke emerging from the Sistine Chapel earlier today, and we are told the whole building erupted in cheering and applause when they heard his name. Again, the all-boys Catholic High School is located on the city's south side, and they have been closely monitoring the conclave, particularly Prevost's involvement. Now, Pope Leo XIV, Prevost was a substitute teacher of physics and math here about 40 years ago. Father Tom McCarthy knows him personally and says he cannot wait for the world to get to know him too.
I emailed him on Tuesday and just said, Bob, we're praying for you and for the Holy Spirit on the Cardinals. And he just said, thank you, Tom, keep praying. So then this morning, you know, we saw the white smoke, so the kids were excited. And then when it came, and you could hear the whole school go crazy. He loves life, he loves people. He is someone who we know as a brother, and we just think he's the best. We can't wait for the world to see what we know.
Now, Father Tom says that he hopes to get the new pope back here to St. Rita High School at some point in the near future for a visit. He has visited this school many times in the past over the years, along with other Chicago parishes. So there is a close connection to the new pope, a lot of excitement and a lot of elation. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, Casey, I'm just struck by that soundbite there. He said, Bob, we're praying for you. Up until yesterday, probably a lot of people just called him Bob or Cardinal Prevost. Well, not today, Pope Leo XIV. And Casey, I have to say, I'd be remiss if I didn't, but online, on social media, the memes related to Chicago and with Pope Leo now, they're really going off. A lot of Chicago-specific ones.
That's right, and a lot of Chicago sports-specific AI images and memes as well. A lot of people, of course, drawing the connection to the Chicago Bears and joking that the team and the city now has a direct line to God.
Casey Cronin is there live for us in Chicago. Casey, good to see you. Talk soon.
You too.
All right, in the meantime here, I want to put up this tweet. Let's take this. The Cubs with the sign outside Wrigley Field. Hey, Chicago. He's a Cubs fan. Now, that's awesome. That's great. Wanted to make sure we got that in. So, like I said, I'm not kidding. You're seeing so many of these Chicago-specific memes online. they say congratulations to Pope Leo XIV. All right, in the meantime, let's take another quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going out to our colleague there at Fox 9 in Minneapolis with more reaction as well. We'll be breaking down how might the papacy of Pope Leo go. All of that and more in 2 minutes. And welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew Kraft in our continuing coverage of history today being made there in Rome on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica as the first American Pope was elected by the College of Cardinals in the Conclave in the Sistine Chapel, going 4 ballots, the Conclave in total lasting a little over 25 hours. Well, our colleague at Fox 9 in Minneapolis, Adam Lawrence, he was watching it all, and he joins me yet again. Adam, what a day. I think a lot of people are still reeling from this news that the first American Pope was elected. When you heard the name on the balcony and you heard the name, the papal name he chose, what went through your mind? You went to Notre Dame. I know you're Catholic. What went through your mind?
Thanks very much, Andrew. Really appreciate it. I did indeed go to Notre Dame, and as a person of deep faith and as a lifelong Catholic schools, growing up going to Mass on Sundays every single week with my family, I got to tell you, it was just a moment of just sheer shock and sheer gladness and sheer just profoundness at the moment that we actually have an American Pope. Andrew, this is absolutely incredible. This is something that you and I spoke about yesterday, something that a lot of people thought would never happen. Now, you got to keep in mind, inside that Sistine Chapel, the United States did have the second most representation of any other country, only trailing Italy. Italy had 17 cardinals. The United States had 10. So there was certainly a chance of this. But Andrew, let me drop a little stat on you here. If there was an odds board, if you will, of the cardinals that could be chosen for the papal candidate, Robert Francis Prevost was 50-1 odds. This really was a long shot. But you know what? It's here. We have it. We have a pope from Chicago, the Windy City, the second city, somebody that we can all identify with. You know, in Casey's report there just earlier from our friends over at Fox 32 in Chicago, she brought up the Chicago Cubs and the marquee outside Wrigley Field. Yeah. Well, the Cubs chaplain has already come out. Father Burke Masters of St. Isaac's in the beautiful city of Hinsdale, Illinois, has already invited Pope Leo to come and celebrate Mass at Wrigley Field. Andrew, wow. for us as young Catholics here, this is somebody that we can really identify with. He's 69 years old. He's from Chicago. He also went to a Catholic school, this being Villanova University in Philadelphia. And I hope we can have a chance to talk about his Augustinian roots, Villanova and Augustinian University. He was a math major there. I mean, this is somebody that, you know, this is not some distant pontiff that's just over in Rome that is just more of a figurehead for us. This is somebody that we know, somebody we can identify with, somebody from the Midwest. So just as an American Catholic, I never thought that I would see this day, but here we are, and what a profoundly excellent and historic day it really is.
Yeah, and Adam, someone not too long ago who is known to his parishioners and his flock is Father Bob. That to me just speaks to where he is right now, the fact that his entire life changed this morning, the enormity of the world's Catholics now weighing on his shoulders, the problems of the church weighing on his shoulders. And you're right, we were talking yesterday, I had asked you, what are the chances of getting an American Pope? You had said they were slim, but they weren't zero. And I think that speaks to what we're talking about today, the election of the first American Pope. And I don't want to kind of, beat this topic so much. This is going to be history for so long. This is not going to be an asterisk near Pope Leo's name. This is going to be the first line in the biography of Leo when the historians write his biography. I want to ask, though, this. How will he take the papacy? Will he be much like Francis? Will he deviate from Francis? Because I think it's safe to say, I think a lot of people know, popes need to know more than one language. And to your point, him having English as his first language, for American Catholics, that really brings it home for them. That humanizes it for them. This is not some kind of abstract idea of a Catholic figurehead who may speak Italian and you don't know what they're saying. He speaks English in addition to a number of languages.
Yeah, Andrew, look, I think we got some glimpses as to what his papacy is going to look like from the blessing that he delivered at St. Peter's Square shortly after the white smoke emerged from the chimney and it was announced that he was Pope. One of the lines that I just really loved that he said, God loves us, all of us, not just some of us, not just us that look like us, not just us that have money, not just us that think like us, all of us. And this was a pillar of Pope Francis's teaching, and I think that you're going to see him take that into account over the course of his papacy. And you're talking about languages there. Pope Leo XIV spoke 4 different languages during his about 15-minute address out there to the pilgrims at St. Peter's Square. He spoke English, he spoke Italian, he spoke Spanish, he also spoke in Latin. He celebrated Mary. This is, after all, the month of May, a Marian month, a month to celebrate St. Mary. Today is one of the feast days of Our Lady of Pompeii, a very important saint in Italy. They said the Hail Mary out there. And Andrew, I think here's another important note to consider. You talk about what is his papacy going to look like and where does the church at right now in terms of its global nature. This is the second consecutive pope that we've had that is not from the continent of Europe. Andrew, you and I got into this a little bit yesterday. You know, the gap between popes not from Europe, between Pope Gregory III, who was in 731, not 1731, 731, and Pope Francis was about 1,300 years. Now, Andrew, we have 2 consecutive popes not from the continent of Europe. I think that this is a very clear message of the Catholic Church, and it's saying that it is really leaning into the global nature of it and really concerning itself with all of its people, not just some of its people, all of its people. And that's exactly what Pope Leo XIV relayed in his message. God loves us, all of us. I think those are very important words that we all can take into account and really reflect and meditate as we enter the first few days of Pope Leo XIV's papacy.
You know, Adam, let's analyze the papal name choice. Leo, the significance of it. What does it mean? A lot of people have been talking about Leo XIII, and a lot of people have been saying that Leo XIV has some large Leo shoes to fill. Would you agree? Who is Leo XIII?
Yeah, Leo XIII, he passed away in 1903, but he was really known, Andrew, as the social pope. He was a pope that cared a lot about social issues, social justice, cared a lot about workers and the working class. You know, not necessarily the people with money, the people with power, the people with authority, the common folk, the lay folk, the people that, you know, maybe we pass on the street and we really don't think twice about. So I think the symbolism of Cardinal Prevost choosing the name Pope Leo XIV, I think he is really leaning in to that nature of really looking at everybody as one, all of us unified, not just those that are at the top of the food chain, those that we pass by the street that sometimes we don't even look towards. You know, Pope Francis was the first pope to choose the name Francis of Assisi, a saint that really cared a lot about animals and about the earth and the environment and caring for Mother Nature and caring for the poor, the sick, the needy. There's a beautiful church in New York City in Midtown Manhattan, the Church of St. Francis of Assisi, and that is a church that really leans into their homeless mission and their homeless outreach. I think that Pope Leo XIV choosing this name is almost in a default, a continuation of Francis kind of going into that name of really caring about people that are those that are on the margins of society, of those that, you know, maybe we walk by the street and don't think twice about. I think he really wants us Catholics to really open our eyes to everybody, especially caring for those, you know, that may have less than us, that may be less fortunate than us, really caring for those people, because when we're caring for those people, that's when we're really living out the mission of the church and being a man or woman for others.
You know, Adam, I want to ask just about kind of personal disposition and kind of juxtapose him with Francis. I think it's safe to say, and this is not a surprise to viewers, that Francis was a colorful personality. He was very outspoken. He spoke to the media a lot. He was gregarious. He really, you know, physically, you know, touched the people that he interacted with on kind of a very human level. What about Pope Leo XIV? Is he going to take that approach, or is he going to be more reserved, quieter, more predictable, do you think? Is he going to shy away from some of those accoutrements that Francis did?
Yeah, I think it's still a little too early to tell, but again, I think we kind of got some glimpses into it. You saw him come out onto the portico there at St. Peter's Basilica. When Francis was elected and he gave his opening remarks, he was dressed in the simple papal whites, right? There was not the red regalia, not the shoes, whatever. Now, we couldn't see what shoes that Pope Leo XIV was wearing, but he did opt to go back to that sort of red regalia. And hey, I'm here for it, right? You got to kind of differentiate yourself from the previous pontiff. So I'm not reading too much into that and saying, oh, well, this is a guy that just kind of cares about the glitz and the glamour of being the Pope. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that I think that he is going to come at the papacy with some personality. I think it's also really important to keep in mind his age. He's 69 years old. Now, Andrew, for you and I think we're both 32 or 33 years old. 69 is still, we're just a third of the way there to get to the Pope's age. But 69 in the grand scheme of things is very young. He's going to be at this seat probably for at least 2 decades. And again, just going into his American nature of it, Andrew, America is the center of the global media universe. Media runs through this country. I expect the Pope to really lean into that media-friendly mentality. I definitely think he's going to be coming to the United States in very short order. It might not be in this calendar year, but it's certainly going to be within the next year and a half before the end of next year. Keep in mind, our country is celebrating its 250th birthday next summer. Yeah. Potentially Pope Leo will be a part of those celebrations as well. There's so many things to think about here. I mean, I was just joking about with some colleagues here at Fox 9. I'm curious to know, what was Pope Leo XIV's cheesesteak of choice when he was an undergrad at Villanova? He was a math major there, right? Okay, what's his favorite Italian beef in Chicago?
Okay, speaking on that, we have his yearbook photo from Villanova. Let's take this. Chris O'Connell there at Fox 29 in Philadelphia has it. His 1977 yearbook picture. He was then, of course, Robert Prevost, courtesy there of Villanova. So I had to get that in. I thought that was a really, really interesting facet as we tell this distinctly American story. Adam, let's just get back to the conclave very, very quickly before I let you go. This was the 4th ballot. We saw the white smoke. What are the chances, what are the odds, maybe none at all, that we know the vote breakdown, that we know whether or not there was unity behind now Pope Leo XIV? Clearly, he got the threshold that he needed, the 2/3 here, and it took 4 rounds. Do you think we'll ever know that? Historically, do we get those details or no?
We won't get those details. At least they've never come out historically. But make no mistake about it, Andrew, I really believe that the now Pope Leo XIV went to bed last night knowing that there was a very, very good chance of him waking up the next day, and the next day being perhaps the most consequential day of the rest of his life, that he would become the 267th Pope in the history of the Catholic Church. It's very clear in just 4 ballots. That meant that last night, after they went through just 1 round of voting, that he was likely the top vote getter. Now, none of us know this for sure. This is all just speculation, but it's likely that he was the top vote getter yesterday. It was likely that he was the top vote getter in the 2nd and 3rd round. So when we got to the 4th round, he was probably just right on the precipice of getting it. Obviously, it's great for the American audience that they waited until the 3rd round of balloting, because the 2nd round today would have been very early this morning, and we kind of would have missed it here from an American media perspective. So maybe that was a little nod, knowing his American roots. But look, this was a candidate that had a very clear consensus among the cardinals there. He was a person that a lot of people could rally around and find common ground in, and that's why he's Pope Leo XIV, and that's why he's going to be the next shepherd of the Catholic Church in seemingly at least the next 2 decades to come. What a moment for the United States. What a moment for him, and what a moment for young Catholics, especially living in the United States. Like I said, this is a pontiff that we can identify with. This is a pontiff, we bring up the Villanova University photo. this was a guy that probably went to Villanova basketball games, right?
Yeah.
And participated in college activities that you and I participated in as well. This was a guy that served as an altar boy at Old St. Mary's on the south side of Chicago. So this really is a beautiful story that has unfolded right before our eyes, a historical day here in the United States. I couldn't be more proud to be an American Catholic than I am today. This really is a day that I'll remember for the rest of my life.
All right, Adam Lorenz there at Fox 9 in Minneapolis. We are now waiting for the official papal inauguration. We are also told by Vatican media and Vatican spokespeople that the new Pope will hold some type of media press conference in the Vatican auditorium. That'll be on Monday, so we look forward to that. We stay tuned to that. Adam, good to see you. Thanks so much. We'll talk soon.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Really appreciate being on with you.
All right, in the meantime here, we do want to just kind of leave you with this shot there over St. Peter's Square. We do want to take a quick commercial break, and we have a lot more top headlines to get to on this busy Thursday. We're going to get to them, and there are many. We're going to kind of move away from some of this papal coverage and conclave coverage of the new Pope. But there you have it. It looks right now that St. Peter's Square is empty as thousands of people, the whole world, saw for the first time the Supreme Pontiff, the Bishop of Rome, the Vicar of Christ, Pope Leo XIV. We'll be back in 2 minutes.